It is 5 in the morning. The alarm goes off. You drag yourself out of bed, put on your uniform, and go to work, not in a sleek office, not in a boardroom, but on the back of a garbage truck. Lifting trash. In the heat. In the cold. Earning barely enough to survive. That was Myron Golden's life. A man with polio, who grew up poor, who wore a leg brace as a child, who had no wealthy connections, no inheritance, no college degree from an Ivy League school, driving a trash truck to feed his family. And today? He is a multi-millionaire business coach, best-selling author, and one of the most powerful financial educators alive. He has generated over $1 million from a single sales funnel. He speaks on stages across the world and has transformed hundreds of thousands of lives. So what changed? Not luck. Not a lottery ticket. Not a rich uncle. It was a set of principles so powerful, so counterintuitive, and so completely opposite to what most people believe about money, that once you understand them, you will never look at wealth the same way again. This is the complete summary of From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, How Anyone Can Get Rich Starting from Anywhere, by Myron Golden. Stay until the end, because the last principle might be the most important thing you hear this year. Let's get into it. Chapter 1, The Wake-Up Call, the 95% Problem. Let's start with a statistic that should shake you to your core. Out of every 100 people who begin working at age 20 and work until the age of 65, 45 full years of work, here is what happens. 1 person becomes wealthy. 4 people become financially independent. 5 people continue working because they have to. 36 people are dead. 54 people are dead broke, completely dependent on family, friends, or the government. Read that again. 45 years of working, and 95% of people end up with nothing to show for it. That is not an accident. That is not bad luck. Myron Golden says that is the direct result of following the wrong principles. You see, most people were taught by other broke people how to handle money. They were told, go to school, get a good job, save money, and retire. That advice sounds safe. It sounds responsible. But Myron Golden says, following that advice is exactly why 95% of people end up broke. The rich play by a completely different set of rules. And nobody teaches those rules to poor and middle-class people. Not in school, not at home, not anywhere. This book is Myron's attempt to change that. To hand you the rulebook that the wealthy use, and to show you that the only thing separating you from financial freedom is knowledge. Not your background. Not your zip code. Not your past. Just knowledge, and the courage to act on it. Chapter 2, The 2-Sentence Wealth Formula. Early in the book, Myron Golden gives you what he calls the simplest wealth formula ever written. 2 sentences. That is all. Sentence 1, find out what the top 5% of people do financially, and do the same thing. Sentence 2, find out what the bottom 95% of people do financially, and whatever else you do, don't do what they do. Now that might sound almost too simple. But let that sink in for a moment. The reason most people stay poor is not because the path to wealth is hidden. It is because they keep doing what poor people do, and then they wonder why they get poor people results. The rich think differently. They earn differently. They spend differently. They invest differently. They even read differently. Myron Golden says, if you follow the principles that rich people follow, consistently and persistently, you will become rich. It is not a matter of hope. It is mathematics. It is cause and effect. The question is not can you get rich. The question is, are you willing to do what the rich do? That question is what the rest of this book is designed to answer. Chapter 3, How Money Actually Works. Most people think they understand money. They don't. Myron Golden says the number one reason people stay poor is not that they don't earn enough, it is that they fundamentally do not understand how money works. Here is the truth that most people are never taught. Money is a seed, not a fruit. Most people treat every dollar they earn like it is something to be consumed, spent on things that feel good right now. A new car. A bigger TV. Eating out every weekend. Designer clothes. But wealthy people treat every dollar like a seed, something to be planted, so it can grow into more money than you put in. This is the power of compound interest, and Myron Golden calls it the eighth wonder of the world. Here is how it works. If you invest $1,000 at 10% interest per year, after 1 year you have $1,100. After 2 years, you are earning interest on $1,100, not just $1,000. That gap gets bigger and bigger over time, until the money is essentially multiplying itself. Myron introduces the rule of 72, a simple formula to know how fast your money doubles. Just divide 72 by your interest rate. At 10% interest, your money doubles every 7.2 years. At 12%, every 6 years. At 24%, every 3 years. The wealthy understand this rule intimately. That is why they are obsessed with investing, not spending. The poor spend money. The middle class save money. The rich invest money. If you can shift your mindset from spend to plant, you have taken the first step toward real wealth. Chapter 4, Education versus Entertainment, the Hidden Wealth Gap. Here is a question that will reveal a lot about your future. What did you do with your last free hour? If you are like most people, you probably watched TV. Scrolled social media. Played a video game. Binge-watched a series. And there is nothing inherently wrong with entertainment, but Myron Golden reveals something shocking. The average American watches 4 to 6 hours of television every single day. The average millionaire reads 1 or more non-fiction books per month, consistently, year after year. Let that difference compound over 10 years and you begin to understand why the gap between the rich and the poor keeps growing. Myron Golden was not born with a silver spoon. He had a leg brace. He drove a garbage truck. He had no advantages. But he made one decision that changed everything. He chose education over entertainment. He started reading books on finance, personal development, business, and mindset. He attended seminars. He listened to mentors. He invested in courses. And slowly, then suddenly, that investment in his mind paid off in his bank account. He says, the size of your bank account will rarely exceed the size of your knowledge. If you want a bigger life, you need to feed your mind bigger ideas. The television will not make you rich. But the right book might. Every hour you spend consuming content that moves you forward is an investment. Every hour you spend in passive, mindless entertainment is a withdrawal from your future. Choose wisely. Chapter 5, The 4 Levels of Value, Why Some People Earn More. This is one of the most powerful frameworks in the entire book, and it will completely reframe how you think about income. Myron Golden teaches that there are 4 levels at which a person can add value, and the higher the level, the more you get paid. Level 1, Implementation. This is doing physical work. Moving things, building things, cleaning things. This is where most people start, and unfortunately, where most people stay. You earn the least here because almost anyone can do it and it requires only your physical body. Level 2, Unification. This is management. Bringing people together. Organizing others to do implementation work. Managers earn more than workers because they are coordinating, not just doing. Level 3, Communication. This is sales, marketing, speaking, writing, coaching. People who can persuade others, who can move minds and change decisions with words, get paid exponentially more than those who simply implement or manage. Think about the best salespeople or speakers you know. They earn more in a month than some workers earn in a year. Level 4, Imagination. This is the highest level. This is creation. Innovation. Inventing new ideas, new products, new systems. Visionaries who can see what does not yet exist, and bring it into reality, get paid the most of all. Think of the people who build companies from ideas. Now here is the key: most people spend their entire lives at level 1 or level 2. They never develop the communication skills that unlock level 3, or the creative vision that unlocks level 4. Myron Golden's message is simple: if you want to earn more, you must move up the levels. You must invest in developing the skills of communication and imagination, because that is where the real money lies. And the good news? These are skills. Skills can be learned. Anyone, at any level, can move up. Chapter 6: The Financial House, Building Wealth on Truth. Myron Golden introduces a concept he calls the financial house, and understanding it could be the difference between building lasting wealth and constantly starting over. Most people build their financial house on sand, on feelings, on impulse, on what looks good today. The rich build their financial house on a foundation of truth. What does that financial house look like? The foundation: truth. Understanding how money actually works, the principles we have already covered. Without this foundation, everything else collapses. The walls: income-producing assets. These are the investments and businesses that generate cash flow whether you are working or sleeping. Rental properties. Stocks that pay dividends. A business that runs without you. A digital product that sells while you rest. The walls of your financial house are what hold everything up. The roof: protection. Insurance, legal structures, and smart financial planning that protect what you have built. Most people skip this until it is too late. The threat: wealth-reducing liabilities. These are the things that look like wealth but actually destroy it. An expensive car you can't afford. A house that is too big for your income. Credit card debt. Designer items bought on credit. These are not signs of success, they are the financial termites eating away at your future. Myron Golden says, rich people acquire assets. Poor and middle-class people acquire liabilities, and then call them assets because they look nice. Your car is not an asset. It is a liability. It loses value every day. Your expensive watch is not an asset. A rental property that pays you monthly, that is an asset. A business that earns while you sleep, that is an asset. Until you learn to tell the difference, you will spend your whole life feeling rich but being broke. Chapter 7: Sowing Money Seeds, the Investment Mindset. If money is a seed, then investing is farming, and farmers know that you cannot harvest what you have not planted. Myron Golden spends significant time in this book teaching the concept of sowing money seeds. This is the idea that every dollar you invest today is a seed that, given time, will grow into a harvest far greater than what you planted. He talks about different types of seeds: stocks, gold, real estate, business ownership, digital products. Each has its own timeline, its own risks, its own rewards. But the underlying principle is the same: you must be willing to plant before you can harvest. Here is what most people get wrong: they want to harvest before they plant. They want to get rich before they invest. They want the results before they put in the work. And that is exactly why most people never get the results. Patience is not passive. Patience is the active decision to stay the course while your seeds grow underground, even when you cannot see them yet. Myron points to the natural law: a farmer does not plant corn in January and expect it in February. There is a season for planting and a season for harvesting. Wealth follows the same law. But here is what changes everything: once your financial seeds begin to mature, once your assets start generating income, you reach what Myron calls the tipping point. The moment when your passive income exceeds your expenses. That is the moment of true financial freedom. Not when you earn a high salary. Not when you have a nice house. When your money makes more money than you need to live. That is the goal. Chapter 8: The Mindset of the Wealthy, Think Different or Stay the Same. By now, you might be wondering, if all of this is possible for anyone, why don't more people do it? The answer is the one thing Myron Golden says is harder to change than any financial habit: your mind. Most people carry beliefs about money that were installed in them before the age of 10, by parents who were also struggling, by a school system that never taught financial literacy, by a culture that celebrates consumption over creation. Beliefs like, money is the root of all evil. Rich people are greedy. I am not smart enough to be wealthy. People like me don't get rich. It takes money to make money, and I don't have any. Myron Golden grew up hearing some of those same beliefs. And he says, every single one of them is a lie. A deeply comfortable, very dangerous lie. He challenges you to examine the source of your financial advice. Who taught you what you know about money? Were they rich? Were they financially free? Or were they struggling just like you? Because here is the truth: you cannot get directions to a place from someone who has never been there. Rich people take financial advice from other rich people. They study the wealthy. They model the wealthy. They think like the wealthy. The poor and middle class take financial advice from other poor and middle class people, and then they wonder why they end up in the same place. Myron Golden's solution is clear: change your sources. Read what rich people read. Listen to what rich people listen to. Study those who have built what you want to build. Your mind will follow your inputs, and your life will follow your mind. Chapter 9: Build systems, not just income. One of the most transformative ideas in this entire book is the difference between earning an income and building a system. Most people are income-focused. They think, if I just earned more money, my problems would be solved. So they work longer hours. Take a second job. Ask for a raise. But Myron Golden says that is still the wrong game. Because income requires your presence. The moment you stop working, the income stops. That is not wealth, that is a very sophisticated form of survival. The wealthy do not just earn income. They build systems, structures that generate revenue even when they are not personally involved. Think about it this way. A job pays you while you work. A system pays you while you sleep. A system could be a business with employees who handle the day-to-day. A rental property that collects rent every month. A YouTube channel that earns ad revenue long after the video is posted. A book that sells year after year. An online course that students purchase while the creator is on vacation. Building a system takes time. It takes effort up front. But once built, a good system is like a money machine, one that runs largely on its own and requires only maintenance, not constant labor. Myron Golden built systems. That is how he went from driving a trash truck to earning millions. He stopped trading his time for money, and started building machines that generated money without trading his time. The question he asks you is, are you building a job or a system? Are you creating a living or creating a legacy? Chapter 10: Biblical Principles and the Kingdom Mindset. One thing that makes Myron Golden truly unique among financial educators is his unashamed integration of biblical principles into his wealth framework. He is a deeply spiritual man, and he believes that the principles of wealth found in Scripture are not just religious ideas, they are timeless, universal laws that work whether you believe in God or not. He points to principles like, give, and it shall be given to you. Myron believes in the principle of generosity, that those who give freely tend to receive abundantly. Not as magic, but as a natural result of adding value to others' lives. Seek wisdom above all else. The book of Proverbs, which Myron references extensively, is filled with financial wisdom, about discipline, planning, work, investment, and integrity in business. A man's gift makes room for him. Myron interprets this as, develop your skills, develop your gifts, and those skills will create opportunities you could never manufacture on your own. Whether you share his faith or not, the underlying principles are hard to argue with. Generosity builds relationships. Wisdom prevents costly mistakes. Excellence creates opportunity. Myron Golden is not asking you to become religious. He is asking you to consider that the wisest financial advice in the world might be older than any business school, and freely available to anyone willing to open the right book. Chapter 11, Wealth, Debt, and Getting Out of the Trap. No conversation about building wealth is complete without addressing the monster in the room, debt. Myron Golden is direct. Consumer debt is one of the most powerful wealth destroyers in modern life. Credit cards, car payments, personal loans, these are the chains that keep 95% of people trapped. He teaches that not all debt is equal. There is good debt, debt used to acquire income-producing assets, like a mortgage on a rental property or a business loan that generates more than it costs. And there is bad debt, debt used to buy things that lose value, like consumer goods, entertainment, and convenience. The path out of the debt trap, according to Myron, begins with three things. First, stop the bleeding. Stop accumulating new consumer debt immediately. Stop borrowing to buy things you want but do not need. Second, create a surplus. Find a way, any way, to earn more than you spend. Sell something. Start a side hustle. Cut expenses. The goal is to create a gap between income and expenses. Third, plant the surplus. Do not celebrate the surplus by spending it. Plant it. Invest it. Let it work for you. He also addresses the psychology of debt, the shame, the anxiety, the feeling of being trapped. He says, the debt is not your destiny. It is just your current position. And positions change. Getting out of debt is not the finish line. It is just clearing the ground so you can finally start to build. Chapter 12, Teaching Your Children, the Generational Wealth Cycle. Perhaps the most emotionally powerful section of the book is when Myron Golden turns to the next generation. He dedicates a significant portion of the book to the idea that financial literacy must be passed down, and that the greatest gift any parent can give a child is not a trust fund, but a financial education. He observes that wealthy families tend to stay wealthy, not only because they pass down money, but because they pass down principles. The children of the wealthy grow up understanding assets, compound interest, investing, and business systems. The children of the poor grow up understanding how to survive paycheck to paycheck, because that is all they see. Myron Golden lost his son Adam in a tragic car accident in 2007. That loss is woven quietly into this book as a reminder that time is not guaranteed, and that the conversations we put off until someday may never happen. Start teaching your children about money now. Let them see you reading about finance. Let them watch you invest. Talk openly about money in your household, not with shame or secrecy, but with clarity and purpose. Because if we do not break the cycle of financial illiteracy in our generation, our children will inherit not just our debts, but our limitations. And that, Myron Golden says, is the greatest poverty of all. The main message, what this book is really about. Let us bring it all together. At its core, From the Trash Man to the Cash Man, is not really a book about money. It is a book about possibility. It is Myron Golden standing in front of you, a man who wore a leg brace, who drove a trash truck, who buried his son, and saying, I did it. And so can you. The main message is this: wealth is not reserved for the privileged few. It is available to anyone who is willing to learn the right principles and apply them consistently over time. The wealthy are not smarter than you. They are not more hardworking than you. They are not luckier than you. They just know things you were never taught, and they act on what they know. This book gives you what you were never taught. It gives you the truth about how money works. The mindset that creates wealth. The habits that compound over time. The systems that generate passive income. The wisdom to avoid the traps that keep 95% of people broke. The only question left is, what will you do with it? If you made it this far, you are not like most people. Most people quit. Most people scroll past. Most people say, "That's interesting," and then do nothing. But you are still here. And that tells me something about you. You are the kind of person who is actually looking for answers. Who is tired of the cycle? Who is ready to do something different? So here is my challenge to you today. Step 1. Write down one financial habit you are going to change this week. Just one. Not 10. Not a whole plan. 1. Maybe it is canceling a subscription you don't use. Maybe it is opening an investment account. Maybe it is buying this book and reading it yourself. Step 2. Share this video with one person in your life who needs to hear this message. You never know whose life you might change by simply hitting the share button. Step 3. Subscribe to this channel if you want more content like this, because we cover the most powerful ideas from the best books on wealth, business, mindset, and success. Every single week. For free. Myron Golden went from the trash truck to the top. And he did it by changing one thing first, his mind. Your journey starts the same way. Not with money. Not with connections. Not with luck. It starts with a decision, made right now, in this moment, that your financial future is going to be different from your financial past. Make that decision. And we will see you in the next video.